Who are the Givonim? Yeah, who are the Givonim? We mentioned them earlier. Where were they?
They were Jews that tricked
If you read Tanakh, eventually I find the Nethinim, right? Givonim stick around for a long time. You read the Mishnahs and the Halachas regarding the Nethinim. What are they? What's their status? The Nethinim, descendants of the Givonim. Are they Jew or Gentile? Okay. So here's what I want. The world is divided into Jew and Gentile. Nafkamina, mitzvahs. Avadim Kananim, in converts. Convert becomes Jew, right? He is Kedushas Yisrael. And Eved Kanani is also technically one of us. He has to keep Shabbos and Kashrus. And Tuma and Tara. He has to bring Korban Pesach. He's chayav in a lot of the mitzvahs. He's just exempted because of certain limudim, correct? But he's technically part of the bris. How do you know he's part of the bris? Because he undergoes the basic form of conversion. He used to be circumcised. His children are circumcised. He goes to the mikvah. The conversion of a Shifcha Kananis and a Gentile woman to Judaism is identical. Okay? Sorry. So they're part of Klal Yisrael. Okay? If you have an Eved Kanani. They don't have Yichus. They have Isser Bia Bakal. They have certain laws of Arayos that we don't have. But they're part of Klal Yisrael. So much so that they're figured in the count. Are we going to do the Avodah Betuma today for Korban Pesach or not? Okay? They are part of Am Yisrael. Ger Toshav is not. Ger Toshav is not Jewish. He's extended certain privileges and also certain advantages. But he is not circumcised. He never went to mikvah. He's not chayiv b'mitzvahs. He gains no mitzvahs whatsoever by becoming a Ger Toshav. He only gains advantages from us having to treat him well. Correct? Well, yeah, we gain the mitzvahs. We gain obligations toward him. But the Ger Toshav is a Gentile. And if the Ger Toshav picks up and goes back to San Francisco, nothing doesn't changing. He came from there, he came back. Nothing's holding him here. He has no obligations whatsoever. When you read certain halachas, let's say just in the Rambam, the Givonim are treated like what? A slave class. Eventually, they're considered as converts, but there's a gzeira against them. Treat them like mamzer. No bia bakal. What does that mean? Complicated sugya. Basically means there's the people of Yichus, they marry among themselves, so they have no problem. They're miyuchasim. Then there are the people who are, let's say, mamzerim, others such. They should be marrying into kahuna. They pass on their pagam, amonim and moavim, etc. Gerim can marry into that, or they can marry into that. Okay? But the Nesinim are treated like mamzerim. Isser bia bakal. No intermarriage with them. They're in second class, the second tier of Judaism in this respect. There are many sources about this. Yet, Hilchos Belachim, what do we find? The Rambam says with regards to this offer of peace, once again, Kritat Brit Shalom with the nations in the land of Israel. What does it mean when we give them peace or they ask for peace? What does it mean? They submit. They surrender. They become second-class citizens. Okay? They're allowed to, like we said, they're allowed to persist. The way the Rambam has it in Hilchos Belachim, the Givonim are the only Kananim, I'm using in a general sense, who accepted the terms. They submitted. Okay? Which means that they stayed Gerei Toshav. It's sort of a contradiction to the Rambam. The way the Rambam has it in Hilchos Belachim, they are Gerei Toshav. Extended the privileges. But they never converted. Whereas later we find that they're Avodim Kananim, or even converts just treated like Mamzerim. So it's a little bit of a difficulty. I submitted this as a question to certain Rabbanim I respect. Got various tirutzim, none of which fully satisfied me. I think it just has to do with the history. They started off as Gerei Toshav, and eventually they were treated like a slave class and converted. Okay? Many of them adopted it. They just stay around long enough. That's what happens. Why did I bring up the Givonim? Well, one, it's interesting sugya in and of itself. But more than that, it's because of what Yeshua and Am Yisrael did with the Givonim. How they respected the breed that they have with them. The Givonim, what happened immediately after, shortly after this whole surrender? What happened to them? Yes, it says all the neighboring Canaanite cities gathered up and said, we got to punish these Givonim. So what happened? The Givonim were under attack by other Canaanites. By the way, the Givonim were not necessarily Canaanim or Amorites. I think they're Yevusim, whatever it may be. Okay? All the other inhabitants got up and wanted to get against them. You know what it says there in Sefer Yeshua? Let's read the pasuk. You familiar with this sugya? Parsha. Yeah. It says here, quite funny. First of all, the head, the Nesiim and the rest of the nations sort of angry at Yeshua for this whole trickery. The Givonim could have just come and sued for peace without impersonating foreigners, correct? They did it deceptively. And the Jews told them, you didn't have to be deceptive. This offer was on the table anyways. Okay? Fine. So Yeshua basically said, you're going to be in charge of providing water and wood for, the Mishkan. Fine. It says, it says, they made peace. Once again, making peace with them means surrendering. They surrender to us. Okay? Givon was a pretty significant place. That was basically the capital around there. What's going on here? Hoham Melech Hebron, Pira Melech Yarmuth, Yafia Melech Lachish, Devir Melech Eglon Limor. All the big cities in the south side of Eretz Yisrael, except for Beersheba. Alu Elai v'Yizruni v'Nakes Givon, not Alu Elai v'Nakes Yisrael. Let's punish the Givonim. Okay, they're now aligned with the Israelites. So what happened? No, you're ruining it. I wanted to say this. As you know, I've been unable to record for a while. I wanted to be the first to say this, but I couldn't. I put these notes right on Rosh Chodesh Iyar. You can see it because it's still on my computer that way. Okay? We have these nations who are aligned with us. So Yeshua said, we're going to come to your rescue. They're our Bali Bris. They're under our protection. They're under attack. It's like attacking Am Yisrael itself. Now, we pointed out that even if the Druze are not necessarily the descendants of the Canaanites, which they could be, who are the Canaanites? Seems from, also, complicated sugya. Yisro converted to Judaism. Did all his family convert? Apparently, they were hanger-ons, family of Yisro. For example, I like the Pshat. Chovav was a relative of Yisro. Okay, Chovav ben Ruel was Yisro's brother. That's one of the Pshats given. Okay, Yisro stays Jewish, or whatever it might be, but there were others who became good Goyim, who lived near Eretz Yisrael, the Canaanite, and they're our allies. They're mentioned. When Shaul was attacking Amalek, who did he make sure not to hurt? The Canaanites. It says there, told the Canaanites, stay away. You guys are our friends. Mashma, the Canaanites are not Jewish, but they are friendly to us. Okay? Even if the Druze are not the descendants of the Canaanites, which maybe they are. Good argument. As good an argument you can make as any other, or not, that they are. But they are the equivalent of the Canaanites today. They are Givonim. They're our allies. I thought it was despicable that it wasn't eminently obvious that if the Druze are under attack by whoever, Medinas Yisrael and the army would, or the Jews, would come to their defense. And if they seek to make their territory where they live part of, for better or for worse, what is Eretz Yisrael today, then we would, of course, want to do such a thing. We need people like that. They didn't come to us deceptively like the Givonim, right? Did the Druze ever sue for peace like the Givonim did? Or they readily joined up with us? Well, they've been good to us. There's no real Jews versus Druze going on here. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Someone correct me. Fact check this. There's no major battle, Jews versus Druze, right? And we had to have a whole forgiveness thing. I think even today, help them. Whatever. The war's not being. I'm not the commander in chief, so there you go.
How are you supposed to treat them because you don't have your vote?
What'd you say?
You don't have your vote. Does that change how we're supposed to treat them?
No. Hold on a second. Geri Toshav. We saw this before. Rambam says you can't have Geri Toshav if there's no Shemitah and Yovel, right? When is that? When all of Am Yisrael are back in Eretz Yisrael the right way. So technically speaking, we can't allow anybody to persist in Eretz Yisrael. We can't really enforce that. However, the Ravid says that's not what the Gemara means when it says there's no Ger Toshav when there's no Yovel. What does the Ravid say it means? You could have Geri Toshav. We just don't have special rules regarding them when there's no Yovel. They don't get special privileges. But we can allow good Gentiles to live among us.